What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So apparently a lot of you guys want to know what to do before interior design school, and I actually got this question a while back. I've got this question like multiple times in the past, but I wasn't able to make a video because I was in school at the time. But now I am finally over with school. If you do not follow me on Instagram, you probably don't know that I graduated from interior design school. And so there are a few things that I'm gonna do next with my career. And I know some of you may be in the same situation that I am, or some of you may be graduating soon, or whatever that reason is you're watching this video for. If you wanna know what to do after interior design school, then I think you've gotten to the right place. Let's get right into it. So the question that we all have is, where do I even begin? Like, what do I do next? What is more important to do first? What should I do second? And I've come up with an action plan. So that is 10 things that I will do in the upcoming days, weeks, months, in the near future to set up my career and, you know, just establish myself as a designer and get into the industry. So let's just start with the first one, which is job. Okay, this is the first thing that comes to mind, of course. Like, everyone is just thinking about getting a job. Everyone just wants to get a job after design school. And it makes sense, right? We gotta do it. For myself, the first thing that I will be doing is I wanna fix my interior design portfolio. While I was in school, I did some of the projects that we were required to do. And some of those projects, not all of them, because some of them I don't really like, but some others are going into my interior design portfolio. So I have to add those projects into my portfolio and basically update my portfolio. Something that is very important is that you guys should always keep updating your portfolio. Every time that you get a new project, you gotta update that. You gotta like have a portfolio that is current, that has current projects. Even if there's a project that is still in progress and you have some, you know, sketches or some renderings, adding that to your portfolio and mentioning that it's in progress, that's actually really good, because then whoever is reading that portfolio, which is potentially going to be an employer, they know that you are active in the industry and your last project wasn't like 2 years ago, and then what are you doing now, you know? So if you're working on something, even if you haven't finished it and you have some drawings about it, then I would encourage you to add that to your portfolio. So once you have that portfolio figured out, and I have a video on portfolios, if you want to check that out, you can click somewhere up here. I will leave the link for you guys to check that out if you're interested. But after you have a portfolio, then you have to start doing your research for the companies that you want to apply. Actually, you can do this before you start working on the portfolio, or you could do it at the same time, because if you're applying for residential firms, then you want your portfolio to have residential projects, of course. If you're applying for commercial, then your portfolio should have, I would say, a mix, but you should always show the commercial work first. So once you do the research about the companies and then you look at their work, and something that's very important is, if you're gonna apply for a job, you gotta like their work, you gotta like their style, you gotta be on the same page with their interior design style, because otherwise you will not enjoy the job. So once you're doing your research for that company, and then if you see that you like the company, you like the values of the company, you like their work, you probably want to work for them. So that's when you're actually going to prepare yourself to apply for that company. So you got to have your resume ready and also your cover letter. Now, some companies do not ask for a cover letter. I always recommend you attach a cover letter, because it just tells a little bit more about yourself in a more personal level, and I think some employers would appreciate that. So that's basically what I'm gonna do, just fix my portfolio, which I've already been doing this past few days, and then just have your resume ready and then your cover letter, and just reach out to those companies and apply for those jobs. And that actually brings me to the second point, which is patience. You gotta be patient. This is something that takes time, and that's just how it works. It's not only in interior design, any career, any other job that you want to apply. It requires a lot of patience and a lot of waiting. So it is a waiting game. It's better to accept that it's gonna take a while rather than to get frustrated and, you know, impatient about the whole situation altogether. So I would recommend you guys, like, if you are applying for jobs and if you are waiting, just focus on other things, like either you keep working on your portfolio, or you can do other activities. You can, there's other things that you can be doing rather than just sitting and just waiting, because just sitting and waiting is gonna get you very impatient. Number 3, personal branding. Oh my God, this is so important. Like, you have no idea how important it is for an interior designer to have their work out there. Out there, I mean in social media. The first thing that I would recommend to anyone who's watching this video, like even if you're not an interior designer, you need to have a professional account where you can show your work. This is super important, guys. It's free. Basically, you just open, the first place I would go is I would go to Instagram, open a business account and just start showcasing your work. These days everyone's just showcasing their work on social media. So if you are not, it is time for you to do so. And now if you want to take this to the next level, then I would recommend designers specifically to have a website. It's a way to show more professionalism with your personal branding and your career, and showing an employer that you have a website creates a wow factor. So guys, super important that you start developing your personal branding. And if you haven't graduated, this is the best time where you can do so. Some people, they wait until they graduate and then they start doing all of this. But it's actually even better that you start sharing your work while you're still in school. So that's something that I also need to work on. I do have a bunch of projects that are not out there. My website is not even finished yet. Yes, a lot of work, but I'm just sharing with you what I'm gonna do and what I recommend you guys to do if you are in the same boat that I am. Number 4 is network. This one is super important. And I know that I'm saying that everything is important, but it really is. So if you're like me, you probably didn't have time or energy to network while you were in school. When I was in school, I would just go to school from 9 to 4 and then go home and then just work on my homework and assignments from like 4 p.m. to like 11, 12, 1 a.m. So there was really no time and no energy to just talk to anybody. And this is just how school is sometimes. But once you are finished with all of that, then it's time for you guys to start talking to people in the industry. And one mistake that we always do, and I have done this in the past, is that I want to network only when I want to get a job. But this is not really the best approach. And then if you are doing it, then it's perfect. It is a way to get jobs, like if you go to networking events, but having a different mindset of, okay, I'm just gonna go here because I wanna meet people and I wanna, interact and communicate and make friends from the industry is a way better approach. Like, believe me, it just makes it so much fun. I've gone to events where I'm just talking to people just because I wanna talk to people. And then I end up talking to professionals and amazing people, and they end up giving me advice, and it just becomes more like a personal, conversation and something more easygoing. So I would highly recommend you guys get involved in the industry, look up for events. If there's something in your city, go to that event. Some of them are even free, or even just go to stores like furniture stores, talk to people, ask questions. It really can be so much fun to network. So just go out there and meet people, meet other students, because you never know where that opportunity can come from. And that brings me to my next point, which is communication skills. Your communication skills are really the step that is going to take you from applying for a job to getting that interview to getting that job. It's all in your communication skills. I was talking with one of my teachers on my very last day of school, and we were just talking about getting jobs and all this. And then she was telling me that what employers do is that basically when you apply for a job, some of them, they call you, and before they set up an interview with you, if you are a potential hire, before they set up that interview with you through email or whatever, they actually call you and they want to know how you are speaking on the phone. They want to know your communication skills, because it is actually super important. So they want to know if you can have a conversation with a professional, how do you respond to questions, and what your tone is, and how are you speaking with them. So super important to have good communication skills. If you feel like you don't have good communication skills, that's fine, but this is the time for you to start polishing those skills and learning about like how to communicate with people, how to respond to people, even how to write emails the right way, you know, like in a professional way. This is the time for you guys to get really good at it because it is actually super, super, super important. Make sure that you are working on this skill. No matter if you feel like you're an introvert or an extrovert, we all have to work on our communication skills. Next point is use your softwares. Oh my God, guys, story time. The day that I got my first job ever as an interior designer, like ever in my life, I came to the job and the senior interior designer told me, okay, today you're gonna work on Sketchup. At that time, I hadn't used Sketchup like in a year. And last time that I had used Sketchup, I just used it because that was like the time that I learned how to work with Sketchup. So basically, I had a Sketchup class, I learned it, and then didn't touch Sketchup for like a year. And then in my job, I was required to work with Sketchup on my first day ever working. And I had to model this reception desk. And so then I opened Sketchup. I didn't even know what to do. I was like, oh my God, like I just forgot everything. And now I have to do a reception desk like in 2 hours. And it was horrible. I was panicking basically, just, you know, trying to watch tutorials. So the moral of the story is that you shouldn't stop using the software that you're working with when you're in school. Like keep using it, keep practicing, because if you leave it and then you want to come back to it, okay, you may remember, but there are certain tools and the workflow that you're probably gonna forget. I don't know if you're like me, you know the shortcuts in SketchUp and AutoCAD because it's easier to work, you know, with a keyboard. I was forgetting all those shortcuts when I was, you know, opening a SketchUp that day, and it wasn't a good feeling at all. So I would recommend, guys, even if you graduate, even if you say like, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna work for now, I'm just gonna take a rest. That's okay, that's valid, but just try to just open AutoCAD once in a while, you know, it's better than then opening after a long time and then not even knowing what to do. If you feel like you are super tired and exhausted from school because you probably haven't been getting enough sleep or you haven't been eating healthy and whatnot, and you feel like you really need to rest, do not feel pressured to go to work. Unless you really need to work or you feel excited. Like right now, like I'm telling you guys, I was tired for like 2 days or 3 days. And then I was like, no, like I just wanna work, you know? And then I was just like working my portfolio, and then I was so fortunate to get 2 projects. So I have one client and I have another potential client. And so right now I'm like, I feel good, you know, like I was so tired when I was in school, but then I was sleeping for like 2 days, like entire days I did nothing, and now I feel okay. So if you feel like you need to take a break, take a break. If you have the opportunity to rest. You don't have to apply for that job like one day after you graduate. Like for me, I needed to sleep for like 2 or 3 days and then I'm like good to go. But some people, and I have friends, like they just went on a trip, like they need a break, like a longer break. So take that into consideration if that's something that you need. And you know, jobs are always gonna be there and you can always come back to work whenever you are ready. And the last point that I have for you today is just have fun and explore design. Honestly, after I graduated, the last term in my program, we had this class that was design history. And we learned so much about architecture and design. My teacher, he actually is an architect. And he was like teaching us about like all these architects and like design throughout history. And it was so inspiring. And even I was learning so much about furniture design. So from that class, I was just obsessed with like furniture design, and I just keep exploring more. And it's so much fun, guys. Like if you like design like me, you're like obsessed, you will enjoy this so much. So I would just recommend you guys like just have this like curiosity for learning new things about design and architecture, and not only interior design, but like design as a whole. Like design is just like huge, what is it, career? No, like a huge, you know what I'm saying. It's something huge and you can learn from everywhere basically. So that's something that I will recommend you guys do. If you have the opportunity to travel, that's a very good way that you can learn about design and architecture in different countries. But if not, and what I'm doing right now is just go to the library, take books and read, and like go on websites and just research about like architects and their work. And I'm so excited. Anyway, guys, I think that those were all the points that I wanted to cover today, and that's basically everything I'm doing on the everything that I'm gonna do moving forward, plus making YouTube videos, of course, because now it's like officially I do not have an excuse to not have YouTube videos every single week like I used to before, and I'm so excited about it. So guys, if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.